The old man walks along the highway with a speaker, followed by countless zombies. He's been leading the zombies away for 2 hours to ensure the safety of others, exhausting him greatly. At this moment, the walkie-talkie rang, and it was Victor who spoke. He said, "I'm sorry about your daughter. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just want you to give me a chance to prove myself. I'm not the selfish person I used to be. Let us help you." Just as he finished speaking, Daniel heard the sound of a car in front of him. A speeding armored car comes into view and blocks the road.
Hug the fan, Dan!
Daniel, weary but undeterred, runs towards it. Wendell opened his weapon box and had 2 machine guns ready to fire as Daniel approached the car. Daniel finally reached the side of the car. Wendell is excited to pull the switch for the first time, but the machine guns don't respond. This is a bit embarrassing. Wendell is also puzzled by the situation at this critical moment. The zombies are closing in. Wendell pulls the weapon switch again, but still nothing happens. Daniel, signaling frantically, urges them to open the vehicle's door. Sarah, about to pull Daniel into the driver's cabin, sees the zombies almost upon them. Daniel had the bright idea to get underneath the car. Sarah closed the door again. The zombies had completely surrounded the vehicle, with Daniel still under it, desperately fighting off the attacking zombies with his knife. Just then, Victor arrived in a tow truck. When he saw the scene, he got out of the car and came to the armored car. Then he shouted to attract the zombies. Daniel also got a chance to catch his breath. The zombies began to move towards Victor, who then climbed into an airplane and started its propellers. He had thought of a way to eliminate all the zombies. As the zombies got closer to the plane's spinning propellers, a gruesome scene was about to unfold. Daniel and Sarah, still under the car, realized what Victor was planning to do. Any zombie that touched the propellers was instantly turned into a mist of blood, quickly covering the plane's windshield in fresh blood. Wendell, watching from a distance, felt a chill down his spine. The propellers worked like meat grinders, and this process continued for a relentless 10 minutes, after which the propellers were completely destroyed, leaving a scene of dismembered carnage. Victor immediately helped Daniel up and returned his hat to him. This behavior has made Daniel reacquaint himself with Victor, who may not really be the same as he used to be and is no longer the self-serving liar he used to be. Back at base, Daniel started packing his things. He told Charlie that he needed to stay behind for a reason and had some things to take care of. Charlie said, "Do you need company?" Daniel smiled in relief and said, "Your friends need you." Daniel told them they could use whatever they wanted here, and then he left. Victor spoke to Luciana and said that the plane's engine was damaged beyond repair, but that he would find another way to save them. The damage to the plane meant they couldn't rescue Morgan and his team. Luciana and the others, though disheartened by this news, didn't give up. They found the wreckage of the crashed plane and started trying to repair it in hopes of escaping the mountain. Morgan's team and the children gathered, each face filled with determination and hope, firmly believing they could work together to repair the plane. The repair work was in full swing, with almost everyone participating. Whenever they encountered technical problems, they contacted Victor's team via radio and made adjustments by comparing the structures of their respective planes. After several days of repair, the plane was finally taking shape and ready for a test start. Althea sat in the cockpit and pressed the start button. Everyone watched the propeller with hope as the reduction gear slowly started turning, gaining speed. Smiles appeared on everyone's faces, but the joy was short-lived. Althea, hearing the gear's unusual noise, and the others outside also noticed something was wrong. The reduction gear was faltering. Luciana quickly warned everyone to take cover. A blade from the gear was flung out, but fortunately, no one was injured. They looked at the welded propeller with a sense of loss, realizing that they needed a new propeller to take off. Just then, a zombie walked into the fenced area. Alicia, holding a propeller, was about to kill the zombie to vent her frustration, but Morgan was quicker and killed the zombie with one strike. Morgan then comforted everyone. His walkie-talkie rang. It was Grace, a worker from the nuclear power plant. She asked Morgan if they had a generator, as she needed it because another reactor was having problems. The temperature was too high and couldn't be cooled down. She needed the generator to prevent another nuclear radiation leak, which would kill everyone. Alicia and Morgan didn't hesitate and began dismantling the generator. Alicia asked if it could be fixed, but Grace said it could only delay the inevitable. They needed to hurry and fix the plane to leave the area. Luciana had a final conversation with Victor, informing him of their situation, as the power outage would cut off their communication. Victor, though promising to find a way to help, had no clue how to proceed. Morgan's team had an engine but no propeller, while Victor's team had the opposite, a propeller but no engine. Sometimes, fate plays such tricks on people. Charlie, looking at a promotional poster for Jim's beer on the wall, asked Sarah if they were sure they had taken everything from Jim's brewery. She then brought the poster to Sarah. Sarah, looking at the poster, laughed and said that this time they were definitely going to bring them back. Inside the truck stop, Annie decided to leave with the other children, not believing anyone could protect them. The failure of the plane's repair and the children's departure left Alicia somewhat disheartened. Just then, Luciana's walkie-talkie rang with Victor's voice. Technically, the walkie-talkie shouldn't have been able to receive a signal from such a distance without a base station. Victor, with a laugh, said, "Luciana, your voice sounds so nice. I'm coming. I said I would find a way to save you all." Alicia is agitated and asks where the hell he is. Victor replied that they had brought a propeller and advised them to look towards the southern sky. Alicia looks up and sees a giant beer bottle floating in the distance from the top of the hill. Victor and Alicia who brought the propeller, and they found the hot air balloon that Jim's beer used to advertise. Alicia and Luciana burst out laughing. Althea and Naomi saw it too. Even Morgan, who was far away, saw it. It was more than just a balloon. It was a symbol of hope. When Alicia excitedly prepared to show the children this symbol of hope, she realized they had already left the place. Annie only trusted herself to protect them. Morgan urged Alicia to quickly find the children, as their time was running short. At this moment, an unexpected situation arose. Unexpectedly, Victor's balloon was low on fuel and might not be able to fly over the forest, forcing them to land. Morgan, realizing the gravity of the situation, hurriedly told Victor through the radio that he was on his way and instructed them to stay put. He warned against killing zombies recklessly, as some of them carried strong radiation. Morgan, unable to worry about the risks, also ran into the quarantine zone. Victor and Alicia, who landed safely, attracted many zombies with the noise of their landing. Some of the zombies had cylinders hanging from their bodies, a sign that they were infected by radiation, although Morgan had told them to stay away from zombies. It seemed impossible now as the zombies were getting close. On the other side, Alicia arrived at the children's residence, where they were still using zombies as their shield. However, this time there were unprecedented numbers of zombies. After thinking for 2 minutes, Alicia decided to take them away, pulling out her weapon and preparing for a fierce battle. Seeing the zombies closing in, Victor had no choice but to open fire. Morgan had warned them about zombies with cylinders on their chests, indicating high levels of radiation, and instructed not to act rashly. Victor and Charlie could only retreat to maintain distance, with Charlie distracting the zombies while Victor tried to move the propeller. When Morgan's voice came through the walkie-talkie, Charlie immediately reported their safety. Morgan, relieved, reminded them to keep their distance from the radioactive zombies and said he would arrive as soon as possible. Victor told Morgan not to rush over and instead find a vehicle to transport the propeller. Morgan, looking around, realized it was impossible to find a vehicle in his current location and sought help from Grace, a worker at the nuclear power station. However, Grace said she couldn't leave as the generator was still running. She suggested checking the nuclear plant's employee dormitory a few miles to the east for a vehicle. Meanwhile, Victor, dragging the propeller, slowly retreated. With zombies approaching from all around, they came up with a temporary solution. Just as Victor pulled the propeller into a yellow tarp, Charlie quickly tightened the rope, creating a makeshift large open-air tent, temporarily keeping the zombies outside. But this was only a temporary measure, and they prayed Morgan would arrive soon. Morgan quickly found a vehicle at the employee dormitory but without the keys. He had to search inside the houses. On the other side, Alicia arrives at the children's residence, where they still use a large number of zombies as shields. To get through, she had to clear a path. Alicia quickly fought her way into the zombie horde. The children's strategy had some merit, but Alicia was not a weak woman. As long as the zombies didn't swarm her, she could clear all of them from the area. Alicia walked along the cleared path for a while. Looking at the familiar zombies in front of her means she's back in the same place. Just as she was about to deal with it, she heard a noise behind her. It was the young boy Dylan, who told her she was going in the wrong direction and led her to a fenced area. The children had done a good job with protection. Alicia met Annie again, who said she just wanted to help, but Annie refused unequivocally, having been told countless times that they didn't need help and that she shouldn't come. The children had built their house on the water with only one pathway leading to it. Alicia warned Annie that nuclear radiation was soon approaching and that it was very unsafe to stay there. They would only watch each other die. The other children actually wanted to go with Alicia, longing for an adult to lean on, but Annie was very determined and insisted that she would protect them. And Annie said, "We're not leaving and you're not leaving either." She blamed Alicia for knocking down the zombies that were protecting them. saying they had to wait until they cleared the bodies from the forest. If Alicia missed her flight back because of this, it was not their fault. Thus, Alicia was left behind. She spoke with Morgan and learned about Victor's situation. Morgan told her she needed to bring the children to the truck stop to leave together. Alicia expressed her helplessness, saying she had already tried her best. Morgan was silent for a long time, but then he inadvertently touched the keys to the car and said that everything happens for a reason. Then, he saw a zombie outside the window and felt as if he saw himself in it. He tells Alicia,
"We're gonna do what we came here to do."
Victor and Charlie in the tent know their makeshift barrier won't last much longer and are preparing to face the zombies directly. Victor comforted Charlie, and everyone was trying to make amends for their past mistakes, including the once selfish Victor. Just then, the sound of a car attracted the zombies. Victor quickly took out his gun, just in case, but soon, blood splattered on the tent, and the people outside seemingly unaware of the zombies' radiation. In just 30 seconds, there was silence outside. Victor stepped out to see all the zombies down and a man in a protective suit, obviously Morgan, standing amidst them. Victor and Charlie breathed a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, the generator cooling the reactor was overwhelmed and started emitting smoke. Grace can't do anything now. All her efforts are in vain. Morgan got on the walkie-talkie and asked Grace if the generator was working. Grace said the generator had burned out. Morgan grasped the gravity of the situation when Grace told him they had at most 12 hours before the reactor melted down, leaving them little time to repair the plane. But Grace promised to try fixing the generator to buy them time and meet them at the truck stop afterward. Morgan knew she was just saying this and didn't intend to leave alive. Morgan then gave Victor the map and instructed him to bring the propeller to the truck stop. He couldn't let a woman face everything alone. Soon, Morgan found Grace. Despite the increased risk of radiation, he came anyway. Everyone deserved to be saved.
I'm not gonna let you act like you are.